Thank you for checking out this little teaser of the history of the papacy and church. Here's a little taste of what's coming up soon on the History of the Papacy podcast. Now, if you like what you hear, I'd love it if you'd leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or your podcatcher of choice. If you want to support the podcast even more, consider becoming a Patreon on patreon.com/history of the papacy. There are many levels and benefits for you, and you help keep the history of the papacy going. You can learn more about all of this at historyofthepapacypodcast.com. With that, here's another piece of the mosaic of the popes of Rome and Christian church, and I will definitely be talking to you more soon.
It could be really big difference. I can't remember the name of the fast that it was possible that she would be observing at the same time that he was meant to be observing a feast. I didn't write down the names for them to remember them specifically, but I know that it could be a significant difference. And if you've already gone 40 days of your Lent, and even if your wife just has another 10, like, that's still significant.
And it's such a big deal too. And the Christian calendar, that's the big deal. It's Christmas is nice, but the whole thing really comes down to Easter. And
Right.
if you're both celebrating it at a different time, that's going to cause some issues beyond just the fasting, the feasting. There's a lot of stuff going on with that.
Yeah, there's a lot of religious observances. And, my mind goes to, what are the costs involved in celebrating two Easters? So you've got, these masses that are going to be said, and are you making religious donations to churches that you are patron of at this time? Are you decorating the church specially? What's the cost involved in that? So even outside of these important theological issues that they would have been dealing with, I'm thinking in the very practical terms of, that's got to be expensive.
Yeah, I think you can't ignore how big of a deal. It's probably a much bigger deal than what we could really ever imagine.
Yeah, and even today, people who celebrate Easter get all dressed up, and it is a big and important to do. And so if you're having to do that at a different time than your spouse, that would be a really kind of jarring experience.